Let's break down the 9 absolute weakest characters in Dandadan. Some were built for emotional support, and some were built by accident. But don't underestimate them yet, because one of them might hold the key to beating Count Saint Germain. Let's start with the strongest among the weakest characters, which is Okarun without Turbo Granny powers. One of the weakest but soon to be the strongest humans of Dandadan probably. With Turbo Granny powers, Okarun is one of the strongest. But before he got those powers, he was the weakest of the weak. He was such a wuss he would have probably tapped out before the fight even started. And we all thought he would become a wuss again after he gave back the powers to Granny. But surprise, surprise, dude became peak human. His fitness went off the charts and he barely even tried. He managed to hold his own when he and Ida fought Kuki and her pygmies. Then with all the experience he stacked, it's only a matter of time before he comes back to his peak form. Okarun's strength, speed, stamina all went from shut-in to pro athlete level. And with Manjiro's training, there's a chance he would activate his spiritual powers again. And number 2 is Masamichi Beiga. Just a normal human, but strong enough to go toe-to-toe with one of the most sinister aliens and one of the most evil yokai. But even with all the feats, is he a match for Okarun who's becoming a peak human? I don't think so. With Okarun now getting a new weapon and training from Manjiro, Masamichi won't stand a chance. Masamichi Beiga is the police officer called Beiga the Demon, and was the man who adopted Anjizuma. So if you think about it, just his police training and his ability to handle a delinquent like Anji clearly says that he's definitely stronger than an average human. But we saw his true ability when Okarun and Momo tried to pull one over on him. Beiga fights with Rokuro Serpo and matches him evenly in hand-to-hand combat. Serpo, even with his alien clone physique, insane stamina, and reflexes could not take Beiga down, and only tied in the fight with him. We also saw him in action in the Danmata arc, when he helped Okarun and Rokuro Serpo fight Anji, who was possessed by the fairy tale yokai. At third place, it's Queen, the school nurse / dominatrix. She might be the second strongest person among the regular humans we've seen until now in Dandadan, without having any yokai or spiritual powers. And if she polishes Okarun's balls a bit, or gets powers from a yokai and gets a little bit of plot armor, she could probably become one of the strongest members, because that's how easy it is. So hear me out. Queen actually can enter the empty space and see spirits, UMAs, and even pygmies. Which is wild considering not even seasoned spirit users like Okarun or Ira can see those pygmies. She didn't unlock her powers by clashing with aliens or, fondling Okarun's marbles. She just hung around students dealing with hauntings and kind of absorbed the vibes through osmosis. I know she never actually fought a spirit or anything supernatural, and at best she might be able to smack the shit out of the school students if they stood there long enough. But if she did throw it down with Beiga, the guy will beat her ass into Monday, because right now her powers aren't mature enough. And there is no way she can trade blows with Serpo or Anji like Beiga did. But if you think about it, unlike the other MC gang members, she didn't really have any external aid in getting those powers. So just like Gigi, who became one of the strongest members in the group, Queen is also naturally gifted with spiritual powers. At number 4, I give you Kenta Sakata. He's a textbook otaku, and the guy who's the most annoying in the friend group. But with the way things are going, he might be the only one who won't lose to Count Saint Germain. If he has enough nanoskin and a ton of sci-fi manga to read, he could finally become Kim Jong-un with a Gundam suit. Since his debut, Kenta's never had any powers of his own. He was fat, lazy, and didn't know the meaning of the word boundaries, social, personal, or gravitational. And he is probably the one guy Queen might beat the crap out of, even if he tried to run. Not that he can run with his huge ass. I mean, this dude can't even pass a fitness test. And yet somehow he became a core member of the MC gang. He helped fight against the kaiju. He held his own against the core. All because of one thing, nanoskin. Kenta's imagination is so out of pocket. He once turned the Ayase house into a full-blown mecha, while everyone else was struggling to build a scooter. But here's a problem. Take away the nanoskin and Kenta's power level drops to barely stronger than my neighbor's cat. And if the cat's cranky, Kenta might actually lose. Though, the fact that his powers are not dependent on aliens or yokai is actually a benefit, because Count Saint Germain can't steal his powers like he does with others. And number 5 is the only guy in 2025 who actually has a healthy relationship. Taro. He has no triggers, no curses, and no yokai powers. Just pure, raw mannequin energy. And somehow, he could beat someone that even Okarun and Momo can't. He is the only guy Kinta could beat without using nanoskin, because with one punch his body would collapse like a Lego set. Taro is an urban legend born because school kids gossip too much. They said the mannequin in the lab ran around at midnight and boom. Now he's real, fast, and terrifying. When we first see him, he's so fast that even Okarun gets caught off guard. Later he seals Gigi, while Gigi was possessed by Evil Eye. The same Evil Eye that bodied Okarun while he had Turbo Granny powers. And unlike most of the characters in the series, Taro doesn't need spiritual training, incantations, or power-ups, he just works. But here's the catch. He has zero offensive ability. He can't throw punches, can't take punches. Sounds like he's a Gen Z. Kidding. And number 6 is a tiny old man. A creature so weak you'd think he's just comic relief. But who knows? He might actually be the only reason Momo survived this far. He's barely 6 inches tall. Whoa. That sounds familiar. Wears gym shorts and looks like an android grandpa. His powers are he can shrink even smaller and hide. He's fast as hell too, but definitely not as fast as Taro, and even with his collapsible physique, Taro could accidentally step on him and end the guy's life. And that's literally it for his powers. Oh wait, and apparently seeing him gives you good luck. And maybe, just maybe that's not a joke. Because what if the reason Momo and the gang didn't lose all their powers to Count Saint Germain was because she spotted this little person scurrying across a bookshelf? If that's true, then forget Turbo Granny and Ira, Tiny Old Man might be the real MVP of the Kozuka Knives arc. He first shows up in chapter 167 sprinting through the library while Momo and Okarun argue whether he's a fairy, a cryptid, or just a hallucination with insane cardio. And number 7 are the Pygmies. A bunch of tiny weirdos who could have actually rivaled the Evil Eye. All they need is a smarter boss and some solid strategy, and they could even turn the main cast into a patched up kilt. At first, they look harmless, like water droplets with mustaches. But then they whip out their sewing needles and start stitching people together like it's a kindergarten art project. They're all skilled craftsmen. We saw that when they built the magic piano for Cookie and helped her activate her true ability, Lord of the Flies. These guys are chaotic, creepy, fast, but the problem is they have the self-confidence of my friend who's never talked to a girl, which is zero self-confidence, even though the guy's buff and has a successful career. They already can't be seen by most people, which makes them feel unseen, and they don't have a mind of their own. They can't act unless someone tells them exactly what to do, and if things go sideways, they just panic and run. At least, Tiny Old Man has a brain of his own and can put a curse. And before the Pygmies can figure out a leader, he could actually beat them and bounce. Cookie was one of the first ones to see them and acknowledge them, and they were ready to go full kamikaze just for that little validation. Wow, that's the kind of girl I need. Relax, I'm kidding. And number 8 is Chiquitita, the only alien in Dandadan who looks like he needs a warm blanket and a juice box more than a power boost. But if he survives puberty, this kid might actually become stronger than the entire main cast combined. Here's how. It's because he drinks so much milk. Just playing. He's the son of Mr. Mantis Shrimp and a member of a species that are total monsters in battle. But his dad is also known across the galaxy for having fists like feathers and the confidence of a wet napkin. And unfortunately, Chiquitita inherited more than just dad's big buggy eyes. He also got a rare illness from his mom, where the poor kid needs blood transfusions just to keep the lights on. But here's a twist. Deep inside, he's got the genes of a legendary warrior race. If he recovers and stops being Mr. Shrimp Jr., this could solo the MC gang. But right now, if you really put the tiny old man and Chiquitita face to face, Chiquitita would probably die from the energy needed from his own punch before it lands on the old man. I mean, we all saw how strong the genes of his race are when Serpo Dover Demon Nessie Fusion Monster used it. But in his current condition right now, the only thing he's beating is death by one day at a time. And number 9, the absolute bottom of Dandadan's power scale is a character so unfazed by danger. She could get hit by a kaiju, a Kur, and Turbo Granny all at once and wouldn't even blink. Not because she's brave, because she literally can't. If she was in mint condition like Taro, she'd have infinite stamina and sealing powers too. We first met Hana when her boyfriend Taro dug her out from a pile of trash. She couldn't get herself out of there because she's a model and she belongs to the streets. Not the type of model with OF, she's Literally a life-size mannequin that's damaged so badly it can't be fixed. At least other weaklings in the show try to dodge or even scream. She just stands there like she's at the department store. Like, no girl, you left that in the past. She can't walk, she can't flinch, she can't even lean slightly to the left if a fly is coming. Not just Chiquitita, literally everyone on the list, even my 3-year-old nephew, could tear Hana apart easily. And since Hana can't lift a finger, there are others in the story who can level buildings with a glance. So let's meet them. 20 of the strongest characters, to be exact.